name is Woody. This is Change in the House of Pods, a podcast about Deftones. Today, my guest is Gilbert Velasquez from Dallas, Texas. Told you the Texas chapter of the Goon Squad would be well represented this season. Although, to be fair, Gilbert's really a citizen of the world. He's traveled all over the place to see Deftones. And that's one of the main reasons I really wanted to talk to him, to find out how he managed to fly across the earth and back to watch our favorite band. And as you can imagine, after more than 80 Deftones shows, he's seen some good ones. And he's met the guys a number of times. He's even had shawarma with Stef. I mean, that's about as cool as it gets right there. I want to have shawarma with Stef. I love shawarma. But this entire conversation is filled with gems. The Team Sleep Woodstock sessions, Gilbert's surprise video chat with Stef on Instagram, and we address some hard-hitting questions, like how is Prayer's Triangles Hole in the Earth 2.0? And does Chino have a burner account on socials? Lots of fun stuff in here. And not just because we're talking Deftones and because adult beverages were enjoyed. There's a lot of heart in this dude. He's got a really great story to tell. But first, we're going to start with his favorite song. This is my conversation with Gilbert Velasquez.
So I wanted to be quirky and cool and come up with a song that it doesn't get a lot of play, but you have to go Be Quiet and Drive.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I think it's just been a main thesis in my life, man. I grew up chilling in home. I had a single mom, and she was like, "Oh, you can't go nowhere on your own." She was afraid of the world, And she smoked her weed. She did her shit. So she was like paranoid all the time. So I think that's been my ethos in life, because I begged her. 98 Warped Tour. I was 15. I was like, I have to go see these guys. And she's like, "You by yourself, rock music? No, hell no." And I'm like, damn. Right. So 99 Warped Tour comes around. I'm like, this has got to be the year. Come on, Mom, let's go. Hell no again. And then I had a job. So I started making some money, and I started going to see shows. Right. I was like, you know what? I'm on my own now. I can do this. So I took my little sister to one of the first ones. So after that, it was just like, I have to see them every time they come within a range. I used to start going to see them every show, every possible show. On my phone, I have like a list.
Do you keep a list?
Yeah, I have a list.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And I have it hyperlinked to Setlist FM.
Do you really?
Go back. Yeah. So I go back and I'm like, man, that was a good show. I'll click on it. I've seen them 81 times.
81 is your total.
81 times total. Yeah, I thought I had more. And I would go back and count them. I'm like, no, man, it seems like more. But it's a labor of love, man. It's a labor of love. I didn't get to see them when I was a kid. Be Quiet and Drive was my jam. And I was like, you know what? Let me go see them as much as possible, whenever I can.
Yeah.
And that's the way it hit, man. 81 times.
Is ATF your favorite album then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
ATF is my number one. I love White Pony. White Pony was everything to me, right? When I first got to see him live, that was when White Pony came out. It was the Back to School tour.
Yeah. And
I thought it was like nothing I've ever heard in my life. Like from its inception of me becoming a fan. The first time I ever saw Deftones, one of my uncles was a big Crow fan.
Oh, tight.
Right. So the second one came out, and we saw a flash of them in that one scene, and they're doing teething, and I'm like, what was that? What was that? I liked it. I was like, I was a hip hop head. And I was like, that was smooth. What was that? And then sure enough, it was in real time, like an algorithm set off in my life. I was like, wow, I just saw that. And then I went over to a family's, and I was bored late night, cruising MTV. Boom, Bored shows up. I'm like, these guys look like my people, like these little cholos just bouncing around, just jamming out in this little, it looked like a crack house, but I was in there like, well, these guys seem so familiar, and then Abe's drumming, it was very hip hop to me.
Yeah.
It was very hip hop. They rode the rhythm. He's a white boy with a rhythm. That's Abe. So after that, I was just like, I was hooked, man. I was 13 years old when I saw them for the first time, like in that movie. And then I saw Bored, and then that launched me into rock and roll. Like I was a hip hop head. I was Wu-Tang Clan. I was all about New York and LA
Dude,
rap. That was it. That was
that's
it.
so
But
tight.
then it opened the door for so much more. And now I'm like, that's the language of love for me and my boys. And like all the homies will be like, "Hey, Gilbert, check out this band. Hey, this band's coming to town. You want to go see them?" I'm like, dude, it just opened up so many doors. And like, it's like ethereal. You listen to some music and it takes you to somebody else's story. And it takes you to like, albeit a love story or a hate story or a story about someone's life. I mean, you get different perspectives from different people, and you do it sonically. You get to hear them and just vibe out. And that's what I love about music. And that was the door that Deftones opened up.
You're from Texas, right? You're originally from Texas, right?
Originally from Texas. I'm currently living in San Diego. I eventually will move back to Texas.
Oh, word?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool and all. I love San Diego. I used to travel here a lot. And basically, I traveled here a lot because of one of my best friends. So one of my best friends lived out here, and she became my best friend after a Crosses show. So yeah, so like you'll probably interview a couple of these people. You've already interviewed Jeff Cagle. He's my boy, man. He was a great show. I was sitting side by side where he's got that iconic photo of him screaming with Chino.
Yeah,
I was there at that show. I was there with him, man. That was a good show. He was hyped for like a month straight after that show. He would hit me up. He's like, "Man, this show was amazing. You remember that?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, I was there, man. It was great." I met him in New Jersey, and I met him with he was his girlfriend at the time. Now she's Mrs. Cagle, Rachel. She's a lovely woman. Met them, and that was the moment I started traveling
Oh,
to go see the band. Yeah.
Okay, so wait a minute. Catch me up now, because that was in Jersey in 16?
That was the System of Down tour. I believe it was 2016. Will it mess up anything if I go to my notes? No.
Nah.
Sweet. Let me go back into the notes.
I love that. I love it. You're so prepared. That's what's up. You're more prepared than I've been for any of these.
I was going at it. I was like, when did I do this? When did I do this? Because I was like, you have to be succinct when it comes to this stuff.
I love that. I appreciate it. So, I'm sure whoever's listening appreciates it too. He's like, yeah, this motherfucker's on his job. He's gonna give us the real shit. That's what's up.
Yeah. Deep in it, man. Deep in it.
Tight. And it's funny that you bring up Jeff too, because Jeff was the first, I think, fan conversation that I had in the first season.
Yeah.
But he mentioned you too. He was like, I didn't really remember. I mean, I'm sure I recalled it before, but I didn't really remember it until just now that he was like, "You need to talk to my buddy Gilbert." That's tight. Cool. That's super tight. So so that was System in New Jersey.
Yeah, that was in 2012. That was I met him. I met him at the PNC Banks Art Arena. That was August 4th. So I was doing like an East Coast thing. I popped into Camden. It was the first show. And that one, I was up front. I was on the rail. And so prior to that, I had been, bouncing around and seeing them after Diamond Eyes. I've been bouncing around. And we'll get into that. Let's get into it right now. So they did the Diamond Eyes tour, right? Where they did the meet and greets and stuff.
Yes.
That was like my first show being up front on the rail. I had no idea it was that easy to get up front, like you just have to dedicate the time and hang out,
Yeah.
So we had the fast access where you had the meet and greet, the sound check, and then you got first dibs. Ran through like just a couple people and you were right there on the rail, and changed my life. It changed my life. I had seen them a lot prior to that, like maybe 20 times. And at that show, I was like, the energy is too raw. It's too much, you know. And it was like a drug at that point. At that point, it was like, all right, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. I got to do it again. So at that show, I met who's a good buddy of mine now. His name is Ruben Lopez, and you might have the opportunity to talk to him. But he's like, he's not a social media guy. He's not, you know, he's not really in that frame, you know. Like he stays to himself. He's got a Deftones room. He's the man. He spent thousands of dollars seeing him. And so him and his sister would just travel around Texas every time, every stop, Texas. I was sitting there having a conversation with him. I was like, damn, I've never thought of doing that.
Yeah.
It never crossed my mind. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something like that. A labor of love, you know. I got to catch these guys, and I got to show them, you know. Like I met them prior to that. This was a sweet gig. Are you familiar with Trees in Dallas?
Oh yeah, I've been to Trees. Yeah.
Oh, you've been to Trees? Oh, I love Trees. So I've seen Team Sleep there and Deftones there. Sweet. Yeah, it was 2005 when Deftones played there, and then they played the Cambridge Room in 2007. That was Team Sleep. But in 2010, they did the record release show for Diamond Eyes.
Right.
And I was like, I got to get in there. I was fortunate enough to get 2 tickets for me and my buddy. Can we curse on the show?
Of course. Cool? Yes. Fuck yeah.
All right. So my buddy's name is Richard. And I was like, I'm gonna throw a shot in the dark because he's my only friend that loves Deftones. And I called him Bitchard because his wife used to crack the whip on his ass. So I was like, oh shit, is Bitchard gonna be able to go? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get 2 tickets. Me and my boy are gonna jam out.
Bro, you should have waited until I had a mouthful of Hennessy in my like, bro.
My bad.
Okay, so you check. So we check with Bitchard's wife.
Check with Bitchard, and his wife says, "You know what? I'm gonna give you the green light." You know, and I'm like, sweet. So we're sitting outside, and they're doing like the live stream. They're playing Diamond Eyes front to back, and I'm sitting outside, shaking and trembling because I got the leaks, and I was listening to the leaks ahead of time. I was like, dude, I can only contain myself so much. New music, I have to hear it. Sorry, band. If you hear this, I'm sorry. I'm one of those jerks. But I was sitting outside. I was like, man, that is raw. The door was rattling. I was just sitting there like outside. I was like, I can't wait to get in there. So I got in there. Me and my boy just jamming out. They do it like a 22 song set after playing the album front to back for the live stream.
So they do the live stream, and then
in
everybody else
room.
Comes in. No, they did
the empty room.
The empty. But you got to sit. You were in there for a little bit of that live stream, or no? You broke.
No. I was sitting there outside the door, just like listening and feeling.
I still don't understand the empty room thing. Like, wow, like how? I didn't anybody think like, yo, this is whack?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Playing to nobody. Like I figured they just thought it was like a music video or some sort.
Or I guess maybe they done it before sound check, a big ass sound check. But man, we've seen the live stream.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Like it was so good, and maybe that's why they didn't want any jackass like messing up the live stream because it was going to be like worldwide.
Chino, I love you, Chino.
Oh man, you hear that all the time. Being up front. You hear the wildest stuff.
Yeah, man.
You hear the wildest stuff. My boy Ruben and I, we were at a show, and there was this guy who just said Korea, shouted Korea over and over again the entire set. I'm like,
I've been to that show. I've been to that show. Korea. It's like fucking Freebird for Deftones fans. Korea. Yeah. That's super funny.
I think the coolest sound. I think I was in Birmingham, in Europe, and out by London. And there was a lady, and she was behind me. And I don't know if you know Emma. She's like the publicist for them over there in
sure, I'm familiar
across
with
the
her.
pond.
Mm-hmm.
So she was there, and she turned and looked at the lady at the same exact time. After like the 40th time she shouted, she was like, "Chino!" Like it sounded like an ambulance coming through. She's like, "Chino, Chino." I was like, "Wow, man." Their fans are annoying everywhere. Hey,
For real.
she was having a good time, I bet.
We don't need a phone to be annoying as hell. We could be annoying just the sound of a voice. That's super funny. Okay, so take me back to Trees though. So you guys, you and Bichard,
yeah,
they play this 22 song
me
set,
and
but that
Bichard
was
are there sitting after they perform
Okay,
front to
right,
back for the live
right.
stream. After the live stream was done, they exit. They let everyone in. Then they gave, because I was one of the first ones in, but they made an announcement. If you buy the album, you get a meet and greet. And I had that conundrum. I was like, oh shit. I didn't know that they were that accessible. Like, you know, I was like, I got to, you know, like ran over there, grabbed a couple CDs for me and my buddy, and we saw the whole show. It was amazing. Chino had just performed, you know, the live stream, and then he comes out in a jacket. And I was like, what is this guy doing? It's Texas. It's gonna get hot. Sure enough, he throws it off a couple songs in, and he's a maniac on the little stage. You know, I think it's like a trip back down memory lane. You know, this place holds like 500 to 600 people.
Yeah.
At max, you know. So he does a great performance. And we go to do the meet and greet. They're signing stuff. And I'm telling my boy, like, hey, take a photo. I have a big DSLR camera. And I was like, it's ready to go. Sure enough, he crops me out. All he sees is Chino, but I'm like, you know, yeah. I was like, you know what? That's fine.
2010 ass mother.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, Bichard.
Damn it, Bichard.
Living up to your namesake. But
poor bitch. I'm gonna have to let him on the podcast just to redeem himself.
Oh man, I had some times with him. That was my only Deftones fan, familiar friend. Like, so prior to that, before I met Bichard, it was my little sister. My little sister was my road dog, right?
Yeah.
We go to all these shows together, and she was with me on my first ever Deftones show. And my first ever Deftones show was in 2001, and they were terrible.
Oh, word!
They were awful.
Really?
Right?
Tell me, where was it? Where was
this?
This
Was
show?
In Dallas at the Smirnoff Center. It was July 27th, 2001. And the reason they were terrible, it was Abe's birthday, and everyone pre-gamed.
Oh,
Chino was falling over. Everybody was falling over. Way off. Stumbling through songs, and I didn't care. I didn't give a rat's ass. I was like, I'm seeing them finally. This is it.
Yeah,
this is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for since I was begging my mom at 15 years of age to go see these guys, you know? I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to see them again. Maybe they'll be on, you know, maybe they'll, or maybe not, or maybe not.
Or maybe it'll be Stef's birthday and everybody will be high as fuck. You never know.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
Wow.
And I go back and I listen to that. I know Chino hates this one, but the Wasted at Raw Rock tapes.
Oh, word. Yeah.
Have you heard them? Have you heard those?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll go back and I'll listen to those, and it'll remind me of the first time I saw them.
You go tripping down memory lane with some other shit.
It makes me reflect, man. I remember these guys exactly that way.
Good. Oh my gosh, amazing. But in 2001, still like a month after, or well, I guess a year and a month never rather, like they were still doing the back to school. Like that was a great time to be a Deftones fan. So yeah, that's pretty rad. That's so funny.
Yeah, that started it all, man. I started catching them. It sounded like 20 times before like Diamond Eyes.
Yeah.
But that was
sort of a rebirth for you in a sense as a fan. There was a recommitment, maybe.
A recommitment. That's the best way to put it, because like I was a fan and I got to see him all the way up until 2007, until Cheese Accident, and they took the hiatus. And I mean, even after like Saturday Night Wrist, everyone was thinking like, bro, Chino's putting in the lyrics. Like, this is time's up, man. It's a wrap, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, man, that's all I got. That's all I can get out of them, you know?
Is that where when you listen to, this is sort of a deviation here, but when you listen to Saturday Night Wrist, that's where I go to in my mind, is like, I go immediately back to, because it's right there. I hate all my friends.
They all lack taste. Like, I figured, you know, Team Sleep he's gonna put all of his effort, and he's gonna be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I was like, me, my boy, Sean Lopez or Todd or Crook, or we're gonna venture out. We're gonna do something else because it's not happening.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
that's gonna suck. That's gonna suck.
Do you carry that with you now with your feelings about Saturday Night Wrist, or what are your feelings about Saturday Night Wrist?
So that's one of my favorite albums, barring Pink Cell Phone. Pink Cell Phone can get kind of weird, but that's one of those tracks, man.
But it's so hip hop. I love how
Yeah,
it's boom bap. It's just so like,
yeah,
it's so funny
it
because you
does
come
have,
from that place, and that's where I come from too, which is really cool. To sidetrack a little bit again, like that you come from loving hip hop, because that was like Wu-Tang Forever in '98, Busta Rhymes, like that was, I would go to sleep at night like listening to When Disaster Strikes. Like that was what I was listening to when I got into Deftones. But there aren't many people that I've gotten to talk to that were like same place, like East Coast rap and what was going on with the West Coast East Coast feud. Like that was where I was coming from when I came into Deftones. And I
yeah,
mean, I had some exposure to rock prior to that, but never like loved a
yeah.
band, you know what I mean, until Deftones. So it's really fun. And now to think about, like, you were like, yeah, Pink Cell Phone it's weird. It's tight.
I think the Annie Hardy's part was the weird part, like the
Okay,
uncensored.
that's fair.
That's
That's
fair.
fair.
That's fair, right? I was like, oh man, she's talking about dicks. But no, it was good, man.
That's real. Oh, that's real.
Uh,
Okay, so was The Crow how you were introduced to
that was
Deftones? That
that was
was
my
the
one of my
introduction.
first exposure to him.
Wow.
I saw him jamming there on stage. He had dreads and he was just rocking out, and I was like, that dude didn't look black. He's got dreads, like this guy's
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah.
He's got a vibe. And then I saw him in the Board music video, and sure enough, he had the windbreaker, the white tee, the Dickies. I think he had the Adidas on back then. Like, I was like, these guys dress like everyone in my neighborhood. Everyone in my hood looks exactly like these guys, but they sound so different, you know. And so right after that, I changed the outfit. I was a total poser. I was like, and then all my family is like, hey, you some sort of rocker? Hey, like all the cholos are like, what is going on, man? You like rock
Which is my
music?
favorite.
Yeah.
I love, man. That's what's up. I love that.
Yeah. That was the introduction, man. That was it. After that, I was one of those kids on Napster. Hopefully James Hetfield doesn't come after me, but I was downloading everything, you know. I had every album, and then I would break it down into how you have Spotify playlists now, like, oh, this is all the heavy Deftones stuff. I would compile
Word.
it on an album. I'd
Word.
have all the soft stuff together, and I would
On a
just
disc, on a CDR.
on a disc. Yeah,
that was how
the
we did
labor
it
of
back in
love.
the day.
Yeah,
With the
And my-
Sharpie in the book. Yes.
that was it. That was
Yes.
it. And then my car would get broken into. They'd steal all my CDs. I'm like, you know what? Got to do it again. Got to do it
I
again,
have to
baby.
take 2 more hours to burn
Yeah.
another 75-minute CD.
It was slow back then, man. Those writers were slow, and I was going through those discs. But
Bro, I
I'm feeling
threw
old right
money. I threw iMation got bread from me. Who else? Maxwell. Who else got CDR money from me? Sony got
Maxwell,
a lot of
definitely.
CDR money from me. Yeah, they got a lot of that bread. Were you listening? Did Deftones get you into other? Was it like like new metal?
Yeah. So I didn't really lump him in with the new metal. Like, aside from
Be
Ricky,
honest. Be honest. Come on, you didn't lump
I
them in
didn't.
with you didn't.
No,
You didn't.
no, man. I was
I
because
like that. I like that. I like that.
my first concert before Deftones was a metal show. We're talking.
Oh,
It was Reinventing the Steel. It was Slayer,
Oh, wow.
Morbid Angel,
Yeah.
Pantera. This is Pantera in Texas. Man, I got decimated, right?
Bro.
But Deftones were my first band, my first like rock band, right? The first within that genre. And to me, I felt that they didn't have a label because they were all over the place. They were erratic. They were a mood music, right? You're happy, you can listen to a Deftones song to appease your happiness. you're feeling sad, yeah, I can listen to some sad shit. If you want to rage, you can listen to some rage shit. Like you could bounce all over the place. And I used to burn those CDs, and yeah, it would match my mood, man. It was
That's
like
tight.
throwing on a fit before I left the house.
That's
I was
so
like,
tight.
I'm in a mood to fuck some shit up. Let's hit the heavy stuff, But
So to that point, then too, like with the Morbid Angel show, did Deftones then put you onto other rock and heavy music as well? Like were they the ones that opened that door, or was that
they
already?
opened all of rock. No, like
Wow,
I was
like the
rap
whole
only.
thing.
I was
Wow.
only rap. That was the step
That's
in the
crazy,
door.
bro. So you went from only like you were listening to Wu-Tang and then you went to Morbid Angel. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, Pantera also
I
has
mean, it
sort
was
of an
like
obvious.
4 years after like me listening to Deftones for the first time. And I was like, you know what? I like that. Let me try this. Let me try
Yeah,
that. Let me try
yeah,
this. And I
yeah.
was on Napster, man. That was, you
Oh,
know,
the
I went
best.
through a couple computers, not LimeWire, Bear Share. They messed me up a bit. I got the occasional virus, but it was
Never caught a
worth it.
lawsuit though.
Oh, it never.
We still
Hetfield
here.
never got me.
We
Lars and
still here.
Hetfield never got me. Yeah.
They really had us scared for a couple of times though. They were like, "Hey, don't download that shit. They're gonna find your username. They know
Yeah.
how to get. They know how
Oh,
the IP address." We're like, "What the hell is an IP address?"
I got that from my mom. My mom was paranoid. I was paranoid.
She
Every
knew.
knock at the door, I was like, "Oh, thank goodness, it's just Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm good. I'm good."
Oh my god, that's so crazy. But that's real, like, and that's super funny to think about those days of like just burning music. But it was different because now, like you say, you can just stream anything at the touch of I mean, it's
That's it.
literally at your fingertips. But we really did. You had to put that whole thing so to think about like, I mean, I did the same shit too. A lot of times, I'll be honest, if I was burning a mix or something like that, it was for a chick. But like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I did do certainly like, I'm more of an album guy. So I would like want to listen to something from front to back, which was, I think, part of what helped me get into Deftones because they got no skips. So then
Yeah.
thinking about like that sort of deliberate, like mixtape making that we were doing back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
that's
You were
so
a DJ back to yourself.
you were, yeah. It
You
was one
you
of
were
a. It
playing
was
your
we gonna
shit.
yeah, yeah. It was,
Yeah.
it was probably the prelude of I should have just dropped out of college. Fuck all, I'm still paying for that shit. I'm still
So
paying for my
expensive.
internet from 2004.
Oh,
Oh my god.
jeez.
So, Bichard was the only homie that was really into Deftones at that point. You didn't know
The only
anybody else
homie.
that was
Didn't know anybody else, right?
could relate to that
So
so hard.
I was like, damn, man, nobody wants to roll with me, And I would buy 2 tickets. So Richard falls through, my sister falls through. I'm like, nobody. I don't have anybody. So I just show up, and I'll be like, I would look at the crowd. I'll be like looking around. I looked like I was doing a drug deal. I was looking around. I was like, who's actually wearing merch, or who's like got on merch of a band that's similar? And I would just hand them a ticket, like, hey, like they would go talking to like the scalpers. And I'm like, hey, bud, like, hey, you want this
Yeah.
ticket? They look at me like, what is going on here? And I was like, man, I just buy extra tickets. And then that's when social media happened. Like after that, there was a series of like Deftones groups. And at first I was like, hey, these are my people. And then a couple months in, I was like, these are not my people. Like I
Yeah.
was like, oh man.
Some are, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
some are, yeah.
Nah, some are weird, man. Like I had in the Midwest, there was a girl, she was like, you gotta come back to our place. You gotta come back to our place. I was like, I'm getting some weird vibes, man. Ted Bundy shit. I'm like, no. And then
What
I
town?
started
Do
off.
you remember what town?
I think that was Missouri. It was somewhere in Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri, you're on notice. You got some
Yeah.
crazies in the woods. Oh
Yeah.
my
I was
gosh,
like,
that's
nah, nah,
scary,
nah, nah.
dude. That's really scary. But that was also very real in the earliest days of the internet, which is I think part of the reason why like chat rooms were sort of like a dangerous place, or like I bet your mom probably advertised them or talked about them as they were
Oh
a
yeah,
dangerous.
yeah.
Yeah, like chat rooms were not. It was sketchy. Like
Yeah.
message boards were sketchy. Where were you meeting? Where was like the Deftones
That was Facebook. It was a little bit later.
Oh, word.
That was a
Okay.
little bit later. Yeah, a little bit later. But I was on the Deftones, like the worldwide, the web page.
Yeah.
Then I would peek into sharing lungs, and I wasn't savvy on that. I wasn't a trader. I
Word.
didn't trade stuff. So I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. These guys are hardcore. I'm gonna let them be, and move
It always
on.
seemed like there was a conversation, an ongoing conversation that I was a little late to jump into. You know what I mean? Like it was,
Yeah, those guys are hardcore, man.
it was heavy.
Those
Well,
guys,
and I feel like savvier first, like
oh, definitely
internet
tech
savvier.
savvy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
how they were getting tapes to like even
Truly.
Vestinique. Like, how are you getting all this stuff? Which he was a cool dude, man. I met him in Paris. He
Yeah.
was a chill dude. Yeah, at first he was real calm, and then somebody came up and like harassed us for cigarettes, and they got into a shouting match, and I was like, oh shit. And he was going fast, and I was like, I don't speak a lick of French, so I was like,
When the
I was
language
like,
changed, you were like,
I was like,
and I'm gonna be out.
yeah, I was like, what is going on here? But no, he was a cool dude, and he came up to me and my friend. I was waiting on a ticket, and so somebody had an extra ticket, and I was buying a ticket to that show because I wasn't quite sure that I was gonna make it in time because I was at the London show the night before, and I flew into Paris, and I was like, gotta catch these shows. And I was waiting, and I messaged somebody because of the Facebook groups. Like I knew of a girl named Sylvia, really sweet girl. She was like, "Yeah, my friend has an extra ticket." And I was like, "All right, cool." So I'm waiting for the extra ticket, and then Juan comes strolling up, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Juan?" And I'm talking to, I don't know if he goes by Roman or did you talk
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Vesnique? We'll just go by Vesnique. That's the alias. But Juan walks up. He's like, "Hey, Gilbert, you good for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting on a ticket. I'm about to buy one." He goes, "Steph told me to take care of you. Tell him to fuck off." I'm like, "All right, fuck, that's cool. All right, that's rad."
That's cool as shit.
So Vesanique is talking to me. He's like, "Yeah, I just talked to Chino." And me and my friend are like, "Oh, sick. Like that's badass. A guy that's like from another country. You don't get much opportunities like that."
Word.
So I'm like, "Oh man, that's rad." So what did y'all talk about? Like, and he got amped up. He was ready to go. And he's like, "Don't tell nobody, but they're gonna play Pink Maggot." I'm like, "Oh, that's not gonna happen." I kept my composure though. I kept my composure, and I looked at my friend, and I was just
Oh,
smiling and
man.
nodding. And he took off. He was doing something, and I told my friend, I was like, "Oh, I wish that would happen. That's not gonna happen." And she was like,
Yeah.
"How do you know? How do you know that?" I was like, "No, that is the white rabbit. Everybody is chasing the white rabbit. Nobody's gonna get the white rabbit." And she was like, "Well, he could play it. Chino told him he would." I was like, "Look, they didn't they didn't perform or prepare for that. He's not gonna put himself out there like that. There's no way." And she's like, "Don't be so sure." I was like, "No, it's not happening.
Now,
It's
anytime
not
somebody
happening."
says to you, "Hey, look, they know what's up." Listen to
Yeah,
it. Anytime somebody says, "Hey, look, they're about to spit some truth."
yeah.
You knew.
So I was like,
Oh,
"Damn, that would be cool."
was that the Rats show? Or no, the combat show rather. Was that the combat show? Or was that Paris?
That was in Paris. That was at
I don't know if
Le
the combat show
Trianon.
is Paris. Wow. So what
Let me
year
see.
was that?
I got it here. 1 second.
Yeah.
I believe that was 2013 because that's when I started going international.
Wow.
Let's see.
What spawned that? What spawned your
Oh yeah, I was about to get into that. I was gonna get into that right after this. Let me see.
Yeah, tell me. I'm looking forward to that.
Let's see. Sorry.
You're checking the set
There
list
it
because
is.
you have the link.
I
which is
have the
what's-
link.
Ah,
February
so
22nd, 2013. Diamond Eyes, Poltergeist, Be Quiet and Dry, on Summer, Rosemary, Rocket Skates, Command Control, Sex State, Vitashira, Passenger, and Tomb, Tempest, Source City, Die, The Flu, Head Up, which Head Up was sweet because Jason from the opening band, Let Live, may they rest in peace, came out and did Head Up with them.
that's tight.
Changing the House of Flies, Bloody Cape, Engine number 9. The show after that, maybe. Let me see if I can find that one. because I didn't go to the show after that one. Sorry, there's a little breaking the action right quick.
No, that's all right.
No, I don't think they did that one.
Okay.
But,
so yeah, so what
okay, so what spawned traveling overseas?
Yeah, how?
Okay, so I was going to get into that in my notes if it'll open. So I took notes down, and
I appreciate the preparation. The only thing that I prepared was a beverage, so
oh man, I got one in the freezer right now. I might go grab it in a little while.
Hey,
but
yeah,
in
we can always pause. We can always pause.
No, okay, let's hit the pause. Let me go get a beer real quick.
You want to? Okay, we'll take a 2-minute pause and we'll be right back.
Obviously, it's great when your favorite band tours in your town, but what do you do when they don't? You travel to see them, of course. And believe me when I tell you, the Hair Restoration Institute of Minnesota is worth traveling for. Hey, it's Woody. I'm lucky. HRI is 5 minutes away from my house. But if you aren't in the Twin Cities, you are also in luck. With their Hair by Air program, HRI will reimburse your flight, get you to and from the airport for free, and they have complimentary on-site hotel accommodations. Yeah, that's right. There's a hotel attached to HRI. This is literally the best case scenario if you want thick flowing hair like a Viking, or a rock star, or a lion. Well, maybe that's too much. Check out the Hair by Air program at the Hair Restoration Institute of Minnesota at hrimn.com. All right, now what are we going to do with this guy? We can't just leave him lying around. Right?
Rebeved.
You're drinking
I
beer
just got my bev.
This afternoon, I guess, this evening.
Got me a little fresh out the freezer. Crisp.
Ooh, that's tasty.
Crisp. I was thinking about breaking out one of the Deftones ones, but I didn't.
I have been steady able to get the one of the concert like front row packs is what they call them, right? With the little variety.
Yeah.
And the one I've been getting was real good because it had Dia, Good Morning,
the Mexican
Beautiful.
lager.
Yeah.
Oh, the brown ale. The brown ale was good.
It had I think the Ohms beer and one more. My favorite is the Swerve City. It has the hazy Phantom Bride.
Okay.
But they haven't had it in like 2 weeks. I'm hoping. I told the dude because I'm in there buying liquor a lot. And I was like, bro, like keep getting these. I'm gonna keep buying these. You know what I mean? The Deftones stuff. And he's like, okay, let me take a picture. I'll get them. So hopefully before the America's birthday here, I'll be able to re-up on my Deftones beer. Did you get the tequila?
No. So my buddy, I'm gonna plug my buddy's podcast. We had a shot of that. Yeah, they got a podcast called Coffee Tigers. It's two of my best friends. Angel De Jesus Silva. Have you talked to him or?
We've chatted. Angel and I have exchanged some messages. Hopefully, Angel will be able to join me on the podcast at some point. I think that would be tight.
He's good people, man. He's good people.
What's up.
We went to a signing in Vegas, and he was in front of me, and I was right behind him. Excuse me. And we get to the front of the line, and Chino's smiling ear to ear, and he was like, "I was wondering if you two guys knew each other." It was like because Angel does all of California. He does all shows in California, and he's hardcore, man. He's out there at the ass crack of dawn, you know, and we're out there and we're pre-gaming it, we're hanging out, we're partaking in activities and drinking a little bit, you know. We're just having a good time, just buddies hanging out. Like
I feel like it was either it's either an Angel video or a video from you that I saw where Chino was like, I seen this motherfucker on Continents.
Yeah, that was I believe that was the Palm show at the Troubadour. We were sitting front row and he was talking about fucking Angel. And he's like, I see you everywhere. And then he turns to me and I've seen you on Continents, fucking Gilbert Grape. And I'm like, oh damn. I was like, he knows my social media handle. I was like, that's trouble.
Bro, that's cool as fuck. I mean, come on. Like, come on, right? Like,
dude,
be honest.
13.
How ill is that?
I was 13 when I became a fan, man. And my old self would be like, dude, you couldn't even go to a show back then, you know, like now you're like getting called out. But one of the first shows with Bitchard in New Jersey, I had a fit on. I had Texas Ranger bright red jacket and a Rangers hat. And he's like, he came from Texas, you know, you're like pointing me out. I'm like, oh man. And that was like a thing he used to do back in the day, like on the Team Sleep. There's videos of him doing like the rap, Revenge of the Nerds rap.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I could tell
So
you about the Revenge of the Nerds, man, that's one of my God. Yeah. Okay, so he did that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
He used to do that back in the day.
he
So
would
he
call
just
you.
he would call me out, you know, he didn't quite know who I was, but he was like, I've seen this guy. I've seen this guy. And that goes back to me traveling. My buddy Ruben and his sister did all of Texas. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to do that. And a girl at the time had travel benefits, you know? So she signed me up. And I was basically Homer Simpson from that episode of The Simpsons where she's
They
a
got
flight
everything.
attendant and he's flying around doing all this stuff and
hell
being real
yeah.
obnoxious, you know?
Oh,
And
so
that
smart.
that was the start of it all, man.
So
In
smart.
2012, I saw him 15 times. Right?
Are you kidding me? In 1 year?
In 1 year, I decided, you know what? I could do more. Fuck it. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. The next year, 19 times.
No
Saw him
way.
19 times. And they were looking at me like, how are you doing this?
Truly, how are you? Did you win a lottery, bro? What is you?
Yo, no, I didn't have to pay for flights, you know? Like I was just
And that
bouncing around.
that just makes it happen, really. I mean, that
makes it
really,
happen.
yeah.
That
so
was
tight.
it. And you know, and then what was really cool was like I would fly into a certain spot and I would meet someone that was really, really chill. And I'll be like, hey, let's go out and have some drinks afterwards, you know, or let's hang out. Next thing you know, I got a spot on their couch, and the next thing I don't have a hotel to buy. And
Word.
then I'm going out buying beer. We're having, then all of a sudden I have friends everywhere, going from like no friends to go to shows and me just wasting a ticket. Social media, the internet's the best thing. I thank Al Gore every night before bed. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, but
He did invent the shit.
he
Oh my
invented it.
God, that's so good. That's so wow. So you really been packing them all in this last decade is when.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, a decade sounds like a long time, but when you think about the frequency with which they tour and then the number of shows that one would have to see within a year, like you said, 15, 19, and then you got to wait a couple years to catch another.
You get the tour cycle, the next tour cycle. Yeah,
bro.
Exactly. Because after doing 19 shows, I only did 5 the next year.
Yeah.
Right. And then 2015 came around. And they were touring again. I caught another 10 and then another 10 in 2016. And then that was pretty much it. In 2016, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a rest. I've reached the pinnacle. You know, I've seen them everywhere. I could possibly want to see them with some of my best friends. I made a promise to myself, a resolution, if you will. I was like, I'm gonna start traveling just to hang out with my boys. All my friends, I'm gonna go hang out with them.
That's tight.
Then a couple years later, it was like, I'm just going to travel with my homies, you know?
That's tight.
And now I do. I travel. I got my birthday coming up, and a couple of my homies that I met at a CrossFit show in 2012. We're going to Rosarito, Mexico. You've talking to Sandra Flores. I've went with her to Paris before. We went to Canada before.
Hey, why she didn't want to come on the podcast? Tell Sandra to come on the podcast. Why is she hating?
She's wild, man. She's
wild.
wild.
She is wild. She tweets some wild, not tweeting, but she's posting some wild shit. I'm like, I like this girl, dude. She's just too much fun. Sandra is tight. That's tight.
Sandra is cool. That's
and you went to Paris. Where's the how far is the farthest you've traveled? What is the furthest that you've traveled?
Oh, for Deftones, that was Australia.
No way.
That was
holy
Australia.
Shit. From Texas to Australia?
Texas to Australia. It was sweet too. So there's a roundabout way. So I made.
The Earth, dog. Yeah. It's called the Earth. Oh, is the round ass.
Don't say that to Stef. Don't say. Steph will not believe the round earth myth.
Well, there's a long ass corner you got to turn then.
Three lefts to get there. 3 big lefts. So
there's a roundabout way. Yeah, there is. Damn. Australia. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry,
so
please.
in Australia, I used to love going to Vegas. I played blackjack here and there.
What a sorry.
So here,
I might be lit,
so,
but that is a really funny parallel. He's like, hey,
so I like Vegas, right? So I'm in Vegas. I'm there with
prostitutes and kangaroos, they about the same.
Yeah. I was there, and I was pretty
in
twisted.
Vegas. I'm sorry, in Vegas you were.
I'm Vegas with the homie Bitchard. It was his birthday.
Right. Stop
we went.
Making me laugh. All right, it's his birthday. You're on the strip. Where'd you
birthday? Yeah, we went to the strippers, to the strip, all of the above.
You did all the things, right?
All the things. So we're wasted. Nothing's open except for the crap that's inside the hotel casinos. So we found a spot. I'm sitting there, gone. In the back of my peripheral, I hear an Australian accent. And my buddy looks at me like, "Don't you dare, Gilbert." I go, "Oh, hey, mate, where you from?" And they looked at me like, "Oh, he's brown."
Yeah.
He put on the accent. Is he an Aboriginal? How did he get over here? Like I was like, "Oh man."
He's like, "Good eye."
Good eye, mate? Question mark.
Good eye, mate. You might be, you might.
Yeah, you might. Could be.
It might not.
So we started shooting the shit, and my friend Richard's like, "Dude, only you can make friends while you're this drunk." So we started talking. So they were doing. It's my friend Sarah. She's a good friend of mine, and her friend Zane, and they were traveling around the U.S. driving.
Oh wow!
And I caught them on their like second day.
Oh wow!
So they were ready to go. They're ready to see the sights and do the things. And I go, "Hey, shot in the dark. I'm in Dallas," and she had a crush on Jason Kidd of the Mavericks. So I was like, "Let me know when you get to Dallas. I'll take you to a game. Zane, I'll drop you off somewhere you can have a good time too, and we'll make a day of it." So sure enough, they hit me up. I drove her to a game, took her to a game. We went out drinking, eating. I gave him the grand tour of Dallas, right?
Oh wow!
And she loved it. So next thing you know, I get a message from her. She's like, "Oi, mate, Deftones are coming to Australia. You want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? Why not? Why
Holy
not?"
cow! Unreal.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a place to stay. Her family took me in as her own, and like we went running around town together. It was
Where
amazing.
in Australia did you go? Where did you go?
That was Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne. Yeah, never been.
Melbourne. That was May 17, 2013. So that show was amazing. The set list wasn't like crazy good, right? It was kind of a average set list, 20 songs. But I have one of my favorite videos I've ever recorded of the band because my dad and my mom were cholos through and through, right? So they love the old doo-wop songs. Mm. So right before they got, I could hear like a like tapping, like he's about to start around the fur, right? And we're like 3/4 of the way through the set. And Chino's not ready to go into the song yet. He's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna wing some stuff, And so he starts talking about how like we're in the future and we're this much ahead of this band because we're from California and we're in the future. And and he might have been a little twisted, but he starts singing "Heat Waves Always and Forever."
Oh,
like,
wow.
I'm just like, and I'm the only person that knows what's going on right there.
Yeah.
Because Australians don't, I guess they didn't hear "Heat Wave" back over there, and I was sitting there just like, I was recording and trying not to sing and mess up that moment. And I was like, "Always in forever." Yeah, jamming to myself. Meanwhile, I have a girl next to me. He's like, no, stop. Like
Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Chino.
Chino.
She was doing all the calls to get him on track, but he was jamming that one, man. And that was like one of my favorite performances. And it was
that's
that was
so
a time.
cool. Those little moments, whether it's Chino who improvises or whoever decides to like steer them off track for a second. Those little moments, those are that's the seasoning, that's the flavor, those are the moments where, because for as talkative as and interactive as they were, I feel like when Chi was around, they play shows. Chino sort of talks. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if your experience is different, but like the real engagement, like the personal exchange that you get with the band is in those moments, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's that.
It's something that's like really particular to that one show. And like my friends would be like, dude, they play the same set list. Why do you keep going? I was like, dude, you get to see like their interactions in different areas. Like they played a place in like, I think it was called the Blue Note, like some random joint in like Ohio or Missouri. It was Missouri. And he brought out a pitcher of beer and like started chugging it and like spit it up in the air into the crowd like he was like LeBron or something. Like
a word, yeah.
Like he was like this. I was like, whoa, that was very rock star. He never does that, you know?
Yeah.
And there was another show where we were there and he just randomly stage dived, like that was the Chino of old. That was like late 1990s Chino stage diving and acting a fool on stage. And he gets those moments where he's like, dude, I'm gonna do something crazy tonight. That's what you catch.
Yeah.
You don't get to see that on the set list, but you get to experience that if you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've seen some good ones, man. One of my favorites was we were at the Warfield and I was there with all my buddies, and I have never seen a crackhead in my life. And they were everywhere.
I didn't see a story going that way, but okay.
I zig when
I'm rolling with you. I'm rolling with you.
I zig when I should have zagged. And I was like, man, I'm in for a treat tonight. This is, like a flower in the rough. This is rough. This is a rough neighborhood. I saw someone light up a pipe right in front of me. It's going to be good,
It's just going to go hard.
It's just going to go hard, man. They played a hell of a set at that show at the Warfield. And I was sitting there like, this can't get better. This can't get better. Like Chino stage dive landed on top of us. This is good. Next thing you know, I was like, dude, we're almost all in tears. They brought out Gabe. And Gabe performed Root right in front of me. I was like jumping around, looked just like his dad. And like Sergio was sitting there just like egging him on. He had a technical difficulty. He fixed him up. And I recorded that. And I was just like, dude, I saw that. Like I just go back to watching. I wore this DVD out. I had to buy 3 of them. The Deftones live in Hawaii. I saw Gabe in that as a kid, like a little child, like here he is. There it is. Yeah, I saw him growing up as a kid, man. And like, here he is. Like, so like when Sergio left the band, I was like, dude, it's gotta be Gabe. I was like, oh damn, it's not Gabe.
Yeah.
But that would have been cool, man. That would have been kismet.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, I feel that. It's very romantic. It's certainly a romantic idea and a sweet one. There's a lot of things about how that relationship has continued or the relationship with the Chang family and with that I'm curious about sometimes. I haven't really reached out to them because it's a very personal thing, and obviously we all have a lot of reverence and love for Chi and respect, and so it's kind of like I don't want to go there, particularly with the transition at bass over the past few years. It doesn't seem necessarily like the best time to go fishing for
Or
backstory.
perspective.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like I'm not really necessarily trying to go down that. I want to remain respectful and celebratory. I want it to be, but I'm curious since now, like, when was the last time you went to Dia? Yeah, you saw him last year. You saw
I saw
Deftones.
some
I'm
last
sure you
year.
saw.
Yeah.
So you've seen Fred. You've seen
I
the
saw
new
them. Yeah.
lineup, the current lineup of Deftones.
Yeah. They
How
were
you
pretty
feeling?
sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, they were sharp. I mean, but it's one of those things where, like, as many shows as I've seen, like, it's like
Yeah.
I've already kind of like done it, So like,
How do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
when you're taking on the new guys, right? You're taking on the new guys. You got to go to the basics. You got to play the hits, right? So I'm not gonna go to a show and see the same stuff and see them build that rapport, whereas I've seen them, tight with their crew. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, do I want to go through like the growing pains of the new guys being in the group? But I mean, it's good and all, but I'm just ready for the Deftones Twilight. I want to see them do the acoustic shit from the live in Hawaii. They're gonna be like a lounge act in my dream. It's gonna be Chino's gonna have like a pompadour gray thing with big mutton chops, and he's just gonna sing a soulful Boys Republic.
I love that. I would, first of all, I would pay top dollar for that. Absolutely. So I'm not going to sit here and act like that's crazy or ridiculous because I would pay money hand over fist for that experience. But it's interesting that's where like that's where that question led you, was sort of like to thinking of like, well, because in my mind, I'm like, well, they still got creating to do. They're still gonna, whether the live experience is going to be one that is, I don't know, just not familiar or whatever. I still think, and like you said, it was great. It was great. I loved the sound, and I heard songs that I hadn't heard in 20 years, and loved that. But I didn't. It doesn't lead me to like go, all right, like I'm ready for that. I'm ready for the
for the Twilight. No, I'm just saying.
Chino and the Death Notes.
Yeah, exactly.
they got some brass and that shit. Go full ska, or I don't know, big band with it.
Ooh, not the ska.
Y'all didn't think y'all thought we were ska to begin with. Guess how we're going out.
Oh man,
that would be terrible.
Linus era. The like Linus era. That was a good one.
They did have some. It was a
ska
journey.
Reggae.
It was there was some ska tonishness to it, but I don't know, man. They're writing new stuff, right? Like they're
that's true.
the word on the street is that they're gonna record. You don't have any. It sounds like you don't really have any expectation or anything. You don't really have. I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything, but
no, yeah, I don't. I like to just allow it to come over me and like be like I want to be shocked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not. I never really hype up a new album. I'm like, they're doing it. They're recording.
Word.
I want them to surprise me. Like I want it to be, and I wait and I wait and I wait. And sometimes sometimes I'll get a leak and I'm like, oh shit, it's on now. Let's go, and but yeah, I'm curious as to see what they do, and I would love to jump back out there and fly around and see them again. But I think it would have to be like something to bring me in. It would have to be, they got to bring the hot shit, they got to do it again.
Yeah.
And I love all their albums. So
how many did you see last year?
Dude, I don't see him as much at all anymore. Last year, I just saw him at Dia.
Was that it? Just a Dia?
Just a Dia. Yeah. And then like in 2018, I only saw him 3 times. 2017, another 3 times. 2016, like 10 times. So it's been on a slow trajectory.
10 is still alive. But yeah, no, but I feel that. And some of that too is a result of, just the natural, like, not on a cycle sort of a thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can feel that too. Like when you said like you've been there, you've seen it, you've done it. Although Australia is pretty cool. I mean, that's
That was a good show. And so what started me going overseas for it was Stef. Steph issued like a challenge to me. So we were outside of a show, I think it was in Ventura, California, and I'm hanging out there with my buddies. And he walks by and he like walks past all of us and waiting in line. We're there early. And then he turns around and looks at us like he's disappointed in us. He's like, none of you assholes are gonna ask for an autograph or a photo or I think we kind of bruised his ego a little bit. He's like, I'm too not stoned for this. What are you guys doing? Like, y'all are fucking with me right now. So of course everyone gets out all their stuff and we get it all signed. And then I go have a beer with some friends, and then I walk back and I see him talking, right? And I kind of say hi to him. And he was like, he starts telling the girl next to him, he's like, oh, this is Gilbert. He travels around the US to see him. And he goes, but not like you. You travel from Japan. And I go, oh, right? And she speaks just a little bit of English. And she's like the sweetest, most pleasant young lady I've ever met in my life. And she ends up being a good friend of mine. I fucking love her. Her name is Shinobu. You might know her as the girl from the beauty school videos.
no way.
Yeah. So she's like walking around backstage and like hanging out with him all the time. And Steph goes, Shinobu's got the golden ticket. She gets to every show whenever she wants. And she's always up front through Carnage. She's there, and we're all checking up on her. And she's just as sweet as can be. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go international. Let's go. I'll go around across this flat earth, if you will, to go see you guys. And I started traveling. I did the Europe tour. And then a little bit after that, I went to France. And it was Europe, France. And then I did Australia. And then I did Amnesia Rock Fest in Canada. And the reason I did that one was because they were doing Around the Fur front to back. And I was like, dude, how do they reel you guys into doing because they don't do stuff like that.
They don't do stuff like that.
And I was like, oh, and one of Steph's best friends is like, oh, poor Chino, because that was the time when he was married to a different woman,
right.
So some of those songs were probably about people in his past, and he's like,
sure.
Oh shit, I gotta reflect. I gotta do these songs that that are from another time in my life, So I'm like, sucks to be you, man, but I want to see those songs. I was like, let's go. So it was me, my boy
Real
Dustin.
talk.
Yeah. My boy Dustin, who I ended up being the groomsman in his wedding, and that was all through Deftones. My friend Ori, the one in San Diego that I met at a Crosses show. And the reason we became friends is because right after the show, she let me have it. She was like, who was that asshole that was in the front that was high-fiving Chino all night and, getting props and because Chino was all in my face screaming the whole night. And to be fair, the night before we were at the Crosses show, Sandra was there, all my buddies were there before they were my buddies. And I'm up front and I'm nervous. The show starts and Sandra is she might have been lit. I don't know. It could be just natural Sandra. She goes, he's got your face tattooed on the back of his leg. And Chino's like, it was a lull. There was quietness, right? And he's like, what the fuck did that little bitch just say to me? And he goes, what? And he looks at us and then he got back into rock star mode. He's like, I don't have no time for this. Start the music. He was like, whatever. So that happened. And then right after the show, I'm hanging out with the buddies at a bar, like a block away. Next thing you know, I hear everyone screaming. I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm deep in the drinks. I'm like, well, who's here? And sure enough, I see the goat. I see the goatee. I'm like, oh, damn. All right, that's cool. He'll probably just get a drink and dip out. And so he stays, and the fangirls kind of dissipate. And then I walk up and say, hey, man, that was a great show. I flew in from Dallas to catch y'all's first performance. Oh, he's like, oh shit, that's cool. And he started talking about like the Mavericks and how he's a fan of like Steve Nash. And I was like, oh yeah, he's talking about sports. And then my friend here's Sander, he's like, look at his leg. I'm like, oh shit. So I hike up my pants and I show him my tattoo. I have Chino screaming into the mic on my leg, right? And it was fresh at this time. And he was like, oh shit, that looks just like me. And he was like, where'd you get that photo? And we started talking. It was like a Spanish photographer by the name of Javier Brigado. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I love your photo of him. I'm taking it to my tattoo artist. Are you cool with this? He's like, yeah, man, that's awesome. You know, like you're immortalizing my art. That's cool. So my artist was good, man. And he was a fan too, because I was like researching portrait artists and under Facebook lights, it was Deftones. I was like, Kismet, let's go. So I got that tattoo. I put it on Tumblr, I guess. I was like the social media thing at the time. And it blew up. It blew up. It was like on different tattoo blogs. And then like people would know, oh, you the guy with the tattoo, you're the guy with the tattoo. And I was like, yeah. But we talked for a while. So like the next show, he was like in my face. Like,
wow.
And it felt like he was like, it was a place called the Casbah. It holds like 200 people.
Oh my
This is Cross's second show ever.
Oh.
And yeah, dude, he was rocking out in front of me. And like I noticed at the beginning he was kind of like dispersing himself. But then someone told me like a lady groped him on the other side of the stage, like grabbed his grabbed his member, he grabbed his other band member, and he ran to my side. He was just singing the rest. I was like, I'm the safer choice.
Yeah, for real. He got a tattoo of me, but he ain't gonna grab my dick. That's cool.
As long as he's not grabbing it. But yeah, he was cool, man.
Wow.
And after that, like he took notice of me at shows and stuff. And
yeah.
But back to Shinobu, like they issued the travel thing, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do that. So I started traveling, and then after I was like kind of slowing down on the shows and stuff, I was like, I'm just gonna travel with friends. You know, I took Ricky, who was on one of your podcasts.
Yeah,
we went to Japan. We hung out with Shinobu a little bit, and she took us to her favorite bar, which is now one of my favorite bars. It's a little like speakeasy, like a little metal room in a basement in Shinjuku, and it's like a girl behind the bar that looks like she's coming out of the well in the ring. And she just makes drinks, and they poured like they got like a projector showing like live metal shows in the background.
That's
God's
the
metal
coolest
bar.
shit, dude. That's
God's
ill.
metal bar.
Oh my god, I gotta get there. I gotta go there.
Yeah,
that
every time I go,
dope as hell. Wow.
Every time I go.
How many times have you been?
Like 3 times.
Oh yeah,
God. I love Japan.
I
love Japan.
I gotta get out there.
That was the move after, like I was spending a lot of money going to these shows, and I was having the time of my life, but I was like, you know what? Travel's it, I don't care where, just far. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Full circle.
Wow.
Full circle.
Man. But you're hanging it up. It sounds like you've sort of, unless they issue another challenge, perhaps.
Ooh, man. I've
what would get you out? What would do it? What would get you? Because you work for American, yeah. You're plugged up. You're ready to go.
I'm plugged up. I'm ready to go, man.
Get on the plane.
I just love
the plane. Do they just need to play in like another? Does Chino need to do another show in a cave or some shit like that? Is that what it's got to be?
I was so mad at myself for not doing that. My friend Jenna went. Yeah, she said it was a weird experience, and
it was in a fucking cave.
But still, like for them to drop you in the cave, that'd be sweet, man. That'd be sweet. But my friend Jenna went, and we ended up running into her, my buddy Dustin. We met up and we went to Colombia. So we were hanging out in Colombia, and we went to that show together. And that show was nice.
Colombia?
That was in Bogota. It was at a place called Chamorro Music Hall or something like that. and they brought out Hexagram for that one.
Oh.
And that was sweet. It's been a while since I heard Hexagram live, and it was cool, man. And then, like prior to the show, like I was running around town, and I took this photo of like a cool like brass statue, and the title was Minerva. And I took a photo of it, and I posted it. And I was walking around, and sure enough, they put it on the set list, and I was like, well, wait a minute, because I have that kismet sometimes. Like when I took my buddy Ruben, the one from San Antonio, he had only done Texas. And I was like, you come with me, man. I'm taking you to the Greek show. We're going to the Greek. Went to the Greek show, and I posted a video of us like cruising down Sunset. And you see all the palm trees going ahead. And it's a nice little video. And I put Teenager, the idiot version, to that video. And Steph's friend was like, hey, you're gonna be surprised about the set list.
Hell
and I'm
no.
like,
Hell no.
What? And she's like, you're gonna love it. And I'm sitting there, and like there's a moment where they're pausing, and I know they're gonna do something cool because I know their tells. So I start recording Teenager. And I was like, wow.
Bro.
Wow. I was like, you know what? I don't want to know if it was me, but at the same time, it was like, fuck it. I see Teenager. You know, like it's been forever.
1,000%. Wow.
Yeah. I was like, that's nuts.
Holy shit. Wow.
I was like,
they don't play Teenager.
Maybe.
What if they play Teenager 6 times? I don't know for sure, but I bet it's less than a dozen. Wow.
It's not often. It's not often. It's not
That's
at
insane.
all often.
And I guarantee
you,
he told on himself already. He knows your screen name. You know what I'm
saying? He knows my
handle.
Yeah.
I've been saying for a minute, and I don't know if it's true, but maybe we could cross-reference followers or something. Chino got a burner. True or false?
Got to. He's got
to. He's got to.
Got to.
Got to. I got suspicions. Some of them have been proven false.
See, I don't know if he's on social media, but I remember one time I was scrolling. I never really keep track of my YouTube. I just post the videos. And honestly, like when I post videos to my social media, it's not for our followers. I'm not a
you're not cloud chasing
social media person. You know, like I'm not an influencer. I just post it. So when I'm at work, looking at my boss, thinking, "Man, I really want to punch you in the face," I could go look at like the good times I had, and be like, "Hey, man, this is all worth it. This is all worth it." You know, this paycheck is going to my bills that I've accrued over a long history of seeing my favorite band live. So it's worth it. It's worth
I feel that. I totally feel that.
But yeah, man, I just reflect, and there was one time Steph's friend was like, "Hey, what do you think about Gore?" And I was honest. And then next thing you know, I get a follow from Steph. And so then the friend like gets me in a video chat, and I go, "Why you following me, bro?" He goes, "'Cause you talking all that shit." I was like, damn.
That's cold as hell.
I was like, I made it.
You were like, yeah, hey, I'm being heard in this motherfucker. That's all we want as fans. We just want to be heard. I want y'all to know either good or bad. And sometimes if you don't hear the good, we're going to let you know the other shit.
Yeah.
So you don't like Gore?
See, that's the thing.
Oh, that's so tight.
I like it.
What had happened was,
but what I told him was like, it doesn't seem like a cohesive unit. Like they weren't together when they were recording it, and that turns out that was the case. Like they weren't like in there just grinding it out. Like, and I kind of said something along the lines of like, I want you back to the around the fur days where y'all just lock yourselves in a room and churn it out. You know?
Yeah.
And I just because I know they got it in them, you know, and
for sure.
And not to say that Gore wasn't good. Like there's some bangers on that album, but to me, it's not like it's nowhere near like what I expected from him. You know what I mean? And that's just me being really cynical as a fan. Like, I'm not even a big fan. I'm just a fan. I'm one of many. You know, I'm just like, damn, that could have been better, bro. I wish y'all were like grinding it out. I wish y'all were just, y'all had Terry Date. Y'all had all the best work to make your sound really go there.
Word.
Because I want more Around the Fur, more White Pony, more even Diamond Eyes. Diamond Eyes was huge, like sound wise was huge, and I think Gore, they were trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
They were a lot of their songs are different from what they used to, and I caught heat because I posted from the first Music was when Gore came out, and they did Doomed User, and Chino was sounding off, and people were like letting them like, oh, it's just the person that was recording had shit audio, or Chino doesn't sound right. And I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have posted it. But it was like the first time they performed it live, so I was like, I'm gonna throw it out there.
Word.
So
it is
but
what it is,
I think
right?
back to Chino having the burner. I remember there was one video I saw comments going at it, right? And I was like, what is going on my phone? And I checked on YouTube, and there was like the little icon that he used to have on his Twitter of like Skeletor on the bike, and it said Chino Marino, and someone says he needs to put the guitar down, and then it's Chino W Marino with the same like logo from Twitter, saying he's been playing forever. Like, I was like, wait a minute, is this a fake account, or is this him?
You did
like,
catch
defending
it.
himself.
That rules.
I was like,
that
is he defending
rules.
himself? I was like, I don't know if it's a burner or
Chino slipped into Kevin Durant mode. He slipped into KD mode and got caught. He forgot which account he was on. That fucking rules. I think he's on there. I think he's on heavy with a burner, because when I got into the little thing with I shared the Sergio out of pocket screenshot.
Oh yeah.
And then my name was out there for a minute.
Shit, yeah.
That was not a good look, obviously. But Chino looked at my story when I posted that shit.
Oh shit.
And I was like,
yeah.
That was an irate. I was like, oh, that's not the attention I want.
That's a warning shot. That's a warning shot.
That was the warning shot. But it told me he's looking. He's out here.
Hey, it's Woody for the Hair Restoration Institute of Minnesota. I turned 40 this year, and more than any other birthday, I felt like this year I deserved to really treat myself. And above all else, the one thing that I really wanted to do for me was fix my hair. I started losing my hair 20 years ago. It was awful. I loved my hair. Losing it was miserable. I hated the way it looked and having to hide under a hat for family photos. Then I went to the Hair Restoration Institute of Minnesota. They're the #1 hair transplant clinic in the Midwest with hundreds of 5-star reviews. And getting my hair restored was actually a relaxing experience. It was sort of like a day at the spa. There was no pain. It was really fast healing. I mean, I was back on the air in just a couple of days. Whatever your hair loss, whatever your goal, they have the surgical, non-surgical, and cosmetic options for you. Schedule your free consultation at hrimn.com. That's hrimn.com.
So how did you feel about Ohms?
I loved Ohms. Spell of Mathematics was initially my favorite song.
Initially, not anymore?
I really like Genesis as well.
Yeah.
Pompeii. I mean, it's a good album.
Yeah.
It's a good album. I sonically, I think it was there.
Yeah.
I think it felt like a cohesive unit. It felt like they were actually, working together. But at the same time, I don't think they were quite together. You know what I mean? Like, I think they were still a little bit off from what they used to be. Like I think they're all separate from each other. Like back in the days, they were thugging it out and they were hitting the road.
Yeah,
they knew each other.
I understand.
They knew each other. They saw each other more than they saw their families. And I get, there's life outside of the band. But at the same time, like they were on the road together. They knew each other. They're around each other all the time. So I think that they had a better way of communicating without communicating, right? And they're performing, and they were feeding off of each other a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that they're living their life too. Like you can't be too
Yeah.
selfish with it. But
Yeah.
I could tell the difference from the sound and
Interesting.
how well they go together.
Interesting. That's cool. That's I appreciate that perspective. I know sometimes I'm probably just blinded by enthusiasm and like, the just the newness of stuff. When something's shiny and new, I just want to grab it and break all of that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I still have been like, Ohms still sits. It's still in regular rotation. And I'm like, same with you. It's like Spell of Math. Every time I put it on, I'm like, fuck, let me hear this live. Like, let me just get this. I need this in my life. So I feel like there has to be some quality about that album that is lasting, that's bigger than just my immediate present feelings about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know. I guess Koi and Saturday Night Wrist are the only ones that really that I don't return to with like the same fervor. Yeah, those. I know. I know. Everybody loves Koi. Everybody loves Saturday Night Wrist. I still get those feelings about Saturday Night Wrist. You know what I'm saying? That like, this gonna leave us. He's gonna leave us. Dad's gonna leave.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when I listen to Saturday Night. I was like, Dad's gonna leave me again.
I hate when mom and dad fight.
I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm not gonna relay any more messages. I won't tell him.
Yeah.
But it's still like, Ohms still does it. Like Ohms like
Ohms
just
is
the title track alone is just like, whew. I can't get enough of that. So yeah, it's interesting to hear your thoughts on.
So I got another hot take, and I don't want to ruin Gore for you, but I think prayers and triangles is Hole in the Earth 2.0.
Explain.
So if you look at the lyrics on Prayers and Triangles, right? It's like, I'm a new slave to the fire and the air around you. So what Chino is saying is, I have to adapt to what the band wants to go through, because Chino's always been the guy that's like, I'm gonna push the envelope.
Right.
I like the weird shit. Give me the weird shit. And Stef has always been the guy who's like, bitch, if we don't start playing some Meshuggah shit,
right.
Like.
So is it directed at the band or is it directed at Stef?
I think it's directed at the band. Like the elements of the band is, hey, we're Deftones. We have to sound like Deftones.
Mm-hmm.
And Chino does his side projects, and he kills it, but he also kills it at Deftone. He's a legend. So I think that the lyrics were kind of just like a subliminal hole in the earth. Because if you look at it, prayers and triangles in mathematics is delta, and it's a change. So he's praying for change. Prayers, triangles.
Bro, you just hold on.
I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go deep with it. Oh shit, that's worth it.
No, but for real,
from the pen.
I buy that, and I have often been the person who is like, I'm just not gonna look. I'm just not gonna look for the meaning, because either I'm going to find something that I don't want to find in terms of lyrically, or B, it's just so ambiguous that I'm just whatever. It's not gonna make sense. And then like somebody will say something like what you just said, which is like, holy shit, that fucking rings entirely true. Or like when Chino said he snuck his address, or maybe it was his email address in a street carp or something, and nobody figured it out or whatever. And I was like, bitch, like how you just do it? Like, come on. All of this shit is so abstract and ambiguous, but it does have so much meaning. And that's so meta for this band.
Yeah.
That's so meta for the entire band. Like, there are so many layers that are not revealed that it only leaves us to go looking for them.
Exactly. You go on song meetings and everyone's like, Nah, I don't know. And prior to 2001, I just thought most of it was about sex. To be honest, it was sex.
It probably was. A lot of it probably was. Was. I mean, when you're that age, Shit, when
That's
you're
it,
this
man.
age, if I'm keeping
The
it a buck.
brain one, brain two, you know?
But
Brain one, brain two for sure.
to think that it was directed towards the band, or I mean, I think probably Stef is accurate, especially then when they go immediately into media and Chino starts talking about how Stef. I feel like though we or I or people in the media have inflated that and probably exaggerated it to some degree. To what extent do you think that is just creative, like a creative difference,
creative
and not
differences?
Yeah, like because it's one thing to say we're beefing, you know what I'm saying, and it's one thing to say just like his art is this art and my art is this art. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. I'm trying to remember the exact date of this one show, but I remember I was hanging out prior to the show, and I was just chilling outside. There it is. It was March 21st, 2013. I was hanging out, and Stef was chatty. You know, Stef's always chatty. And two random. Oh yeah,
Sativa.
that's it. He's got that strain. He's got that strain that like he wants to talk to us. You know, he was talking about aliens or women are bad drivers or something along those lines. And his my favorite conversation was the hierarchy of the highway. That's my favorite. That's the only thing that I agree with him 100%. The far left lane, you could drive as fast as you want, Autobahn style. Everyone else just stay out of that lane.
Word. That's real.
Then he lost me when he said stop signs are just suggestions. I was like, oh, that's a
dangerous premise. That is a dangerous
game you're playing, sir.
Yeah, man. I see that octagon. I'm putting the brakes on. I'm not gonna just roll through that bitch. That's super funny.
Hell
Stop
no,
signs are suggestions.
But
Prayers and octagons in his mouth.
There's a prayer. You're rolling through it like that.
Oh, goodness.
But at that show, it was at St. Petersburg. I was having a conversation when two random ladies show up. And they're like, hey, what's going on here? Why are these people lined up? And we kind of like, me and my friend look at each other, and then we look at my friend Michelle. We look at each other, and we look at Steph, and then we look at the ladies again. And he goes, oh, there's a band performing tonight. Just as somber as can be. And she's like, what are their names? You know? And he goes, Deftones. She's like, are they heavy music? And he's like, they used to be. I was like, oh, shit.
That's super tight. I think
I was like, damn it.
I think that's just self-deprecating humor. I think that's pretty fucking funny. That's right on the nose. That's super funny. I mean, it's not on the nose, but it's like on the nose with what fans say. Like, is it heavy? It's not heavy. It's not as heavy as
always.
It used to be. I like
it
the
is what it
stuff.
is. Deftones.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I love it all. It's mood music, like I said at the beginning of the cast. Like,
yeah.
They're gonna churn out songs that you're gonna feel in the mood to listen to, you know. And now that we have streaming ability, you can just make that playlist way faster than we could have back in the day.
Man,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. It's really special. It's a special time. I feel like to be a Deftones fan for a number of reasons. A, still making music. B, seemingly having a resurgence amongst like with an audience that's 20 years our junior, you know what I mean? Like, which I'm sure is just what happens in music, but like I always associated it with bands that were bigger than my band, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I knew my band was big or had a song on the radio, or I don't know, were successful, I guess, you know, successful enough to headline a tour. And but then they'd be like on tour with Godsmack, and I'd be like, well, okay, Godsmack. Like, fuck Godsmack. Like, Godsmack even admitted this year, like, the dude Sully was like, it's time to let the catalog do its work. He don't got nothing else in the tank.
Yeah, it's over.
He's got no art left in his body. He doesn't have anything else that he can create. And yet here we are talking about our band and their
Still churning.
their evolution. You know what I'm saying? Their continuation. So where do you I know this is not a fair question really to ask a Deftones fan, because you're going to give a biased answer. You love the band,
sure.
but where do you see them? What kind of bands are we talking about when we talk about Deftones in the grand scheme of music and in history and their impact on art and people?
I think they're a bit of an island, you know. I think you know, you can lump them in with certain bands, but they'll still genre bend. You know, they'll still push the envelope. You know, and they'll have, you know, a Japan cover, a Ghost cover, a Depeche Mode cover, a Smiths cover, and then they'll turn around and they'll play some heavy shit. You know, so I caught some flack from Vesnique one time because I was like, Deftones performed South of Heaven. He's like, but Stef's ripping Dead Skin Mask, and I was like, damn it, dude. I was like, I just put this stuff out there just to put it out there. I don't have a following. I haven't monetized my YouTube. You know, I don't care if I have 10 views on a video or a million views on a video. I could care less. It's just for me to look back at, you know. And as a collector, you're like, no, I want it right. I want it right. And those guys are diligent, man. They put in the work. They scour the internet and they find stuff. But me, I'm just putting it out there just to put it out there so I can watch it during a break at work, or I can reference it. If I talk to another fan, I'm like, hey, check out this video I got, you know, like,
yeah.
And they'll be like, hey, I appreciate that. You know, that's cool. So, I mean, the interview, the first interview you did with them was at Knotfest. I was at that.
Were you really?
Yeah, that was sweet. It was Council Bluffs, Iowa, and I was with Jeff.
Actually,
you did the Somerset, Wisconsin.
The one that I was in was Somerset. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why Chino corrected me, and I was like, it's the first ever Knotfest, because I was trying to do cool radio shit, and he's like, actually, it's the second one, and I was like, cool, thanks, homie.
Damn it.
Like,
okay, so I was at the first one. I was there with Jeff. That was a pretty sweet, because like Rosemary was coming on, and like it got rainy, and like it was like it set the tone for it.
Do you know what this picture that you're looking at over my shoulder is from that day?
Oh, no shit.
Same thing. This is they're on the stage, and the clouds roll in.
It's sweet, yeah.
It's like unique to them, right? Whether it's the sun going down, the storm rolling in.
Yeah, that's only happened to me one other show, and that was a show that I was with Richard at. It was the Nikon at Jones Beach Theater, so it's like an amphitheater on the water, right?
Oh.
So we see it start to get dark out, but I'm guessing just because it's New York and all the smog and pollution, I've never seen a cloud this black, and it comes barreling over, and it's like perfectly matching, because Stef starts the rip to like You've Seen the Butcher, and in that music video they're like getting covered in blood, and I was like, wouldn't that be weird if we start to get covered in blood? But I was like, is this the perfect moment for the end of times? Is this just gonna happen? You know. But totally. Yeah, that was a memorable moment right there.
Wow. Dude, did you so when you went to that Knotfest, did you experience anything memorable there? Was there anything that you recalled from that show?
Yeah, I had the most comfortable seat in the house. I was front rail, and I turn and look behind me, and it's a girl with the biggest breasts I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh, all right. And she's like, I'm sorry if I bump into you. I'm like, you know what? That's fine. And so when the music started, it was like me just getting like beat by pillows. You know, it's just like, and I was like, this is great. So yeah, that's what I remember from that show.
For the
It was
record,
good.
I had no idea that
Where
that
I was
was.
going with that.
I had no idea. That was not a setup. There was no premise.
Yeah,
There was nothing. That's fucking tight.
not premeditated, but
Oh,
it
that's
was
super funny.
that
Wow.
was one of the great shows.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, an
I've
80
had
something that you can recall. The
oh
breast pillow. That's
yeah, the breast
that was a
pillows.
special breast pillow.
It was great. It was great. I have moments where I was at the rail that I'm not particularly proud of myself, or
Yeah. Well,
I can't
that's
find it. Can't
circumstances
find
will
it.
be like circumstances will do that sometimes.
Yeah, no, I was like second row. I can't find the actual date right now, but it was in Michigan. And I look in front of me and there's a pregnant lady. And I'm like, oh, dude.
No. What?
She's like very, very apparently pregnant. I'm like, oh God.
What are you
So
doing in
yeah,
the front row
front row. And I'm like, I can't be behind
at
her
a
for this.
Deftones show?
Yeah. And
I mean,
so,
at any show. I mean, well, no, that's not true because I took my wife to Earth, Wind, and Fire, where
oh, see, you're fine there.
she was hella pregnant, but we were right
Yeah.
in front of the speaker, and she got uncomfortable because it was. She was like, I can feel it. And she was like, I don't like this. I was like, our baby is going to feel September, like we should sit
Love
here.
the soul. Yeah.
We had to leave, but a Deftones show.
Yeah.
What?
Royal Oaks, Royal Oaks. And I was like, you know what? As soon as the music started, I wedged my way in front of her. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be behind her. And
The two of
there's
you
no
can kiss
way.
my ass.
I know for a fact I won't figure out whether or not she miscarried after that or not, but I was like, I don't want to even think about it, man.
No, that had nothing to do with you. That was not. That had nothing to
Yeah.
do. Where's Royal Oaks? Where's Royal Oaks,
That's like Detroit, I believe.
bro? How many different states, countries do you know? How many different places you've been?
Oh, that's a tough one because I didn't categorize it that way. A lot of them are Texas, so
Sure.
um I'd say probably like 30 of them, maybe.
Wow, that's so cool.
I bounce around.
That's
Yeah.
so tight that you figured that out, or that somebody finally put you on. However it happens, like that you're like, yeah, I should. Like
I
chasing your
should do
favorite
that.
band isn't just something that like aloof teenage girls do, like with the Beatles. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's how it was
Yeah,
painted when I was like, it was like, oh, if I'm gonna go chase my favorite
exactly.
band, I'm like a 16-year-old love crazed female. But the truth is, everything that you've just explained for the past 90 minutes, like the truth is, you can see the world and meet people that you love.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And that was part of the sweet gig because like if I was at a show, like I've seen them so many times, like I never I seldomly bug the band. You know, like Steph will start talking to me and we'll just chat it up because Steph is unbothered by everything. It's the strain, you know? And I'll see Frank and Frank will be just kicking it, you know, he'll be talking to a lady. And that happened at a show in Florida. I saw him talking to a lady and I just walked by. I was like, hey, great show, Frank. And I walk on and he goes, that's my boy Gilbert. That's why I fuck with him. And I was just like, oh shit, okay, cool. And I
That's
kept on
hard as
walking,
hell.
you know, like, and of course, like I would love to have I named my dog after Frank, you know, like that's my boy. My favorite thing he's ever said to me though was after the show in Manchester, England, I was hanging out, talking to Juan. Steph walks up and I started talking to Steph, and I'm being an annoying fan at the moment. He's like, dude, great show. I love the band. Big fan. He's like, oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm a big fan of the shawarma place next door. Let's go. And I was just like, what? And I caught myself. I was like, you know what? Don't be that fan. You know, like I have the opportunity to see these guys a lot. I already know who I am. Like I don't have to address them that, I've seen you so many times. I love the music. I don't have to do that anymore. And that was his little fun way of saying, all right, shut up, man. Let's go eat some food. So we went and we waited in line for a kebab, and it was sweet, man. And then right after that moment, I was like, this is cool, And like the other fans like would have a conversation with him. And as soon as like he was done talking to them, I thought, that moment's over or whatever. He goes, all right, Gilbert, come on, let's go. I was like, oh, okay. So he brought in the kebabs for the band, and sat there, had conversations with everybody. And Frank walks, like, I'll walk into like the little dressing room that they're at, and Frank walks up and he looks at me. He's like, there are no Mexicans in England. And he just starts laughing and he walks off. And I'm like, damn it, you're right. They're not. There's none of us here.
Oh man, that's the shit.
Yeah, I was like,
Bro.
that's cool. So I veered off to the right, and I guess I made Abe feel some kind of way because I was talking to the opening band. The opening band was a group out of England called Three Trapped Tigers, and they brought them over here to do a couple shows, like a couple years after the fact. But I was sitting there chatting with them, and I was just talking to them, and they're like, "Oh, so who are you?" And I was like, "Wow, I'm just a fan, like, you're not a regular fan. Why are you back here?" And I was like, "No, I'm just a fan. I just go to a lot of shows, and he just invited me back here." And I was like, "He's like, that's cool, man." And then Abe strolls up, and Abe's already tore up, and he shows me his bottle, and he's got like a moose on top of it, and it's like he's drinking out of the moose's mouth the bottle of beer. And he's like, "Do you see what I did?" And he points at the smoke alarm, and there's this long black sock over it. He's like, "That bitch was annoying." They were smoking weed back there, and they kept going off. And he was like, "I did that." He was so proud of himself. I was like, man.
Oh my god, that rules.
I was like, these guys are funny.
Fantastic. That's so fucking great.
Yeah, I walked out of there with my friend, and we went down to like a little bar. And after we left the bar, because we were gonna drive to the next town in England. No, after that one, there was like a day off, so we did like a Beatles tour. That's why Beatles came to mind when you said the Beatles earlier. And we went to like Liverpool, and we like went around like the old stomping grounds, and they had like a little museum and like a little water area with a yellow submarine just chilling there.
Yeah.
And it was cool. But after we left that bar, we walked out, and they were carrying Frank. He was done. Frank was smashed. I was like, holy shit, these guys are going hard.
Went after it.
Yeah. But it was good. I have so many memories of like just hanging out with my friends, and then occasionally they would extend the hand to me and say, "Hey, what's up, dude? How you doing?"
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, but I'm fortunate enough to where I got to see the band throughout the years, and get to do like one-on-one time. And like when I went to Colombia, my buddy Jorge's out there. He's a cool dude, man. And he was like, "Oh yeah, they never come around. I never get to see him." And I was like, "All right, I'll be that fan." I was like, I know when like the only times they'll be coming in at the airport, so I'll take you to go see him. Let's go. And he's like, "Nah, really, really, really." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, let's go." And he brought all his memorabilia. He got it all signed, and he was ecstatic, man, because they get a show like once a decade, and I feel fortunate that I was able to see the band enough with my friends, reflecting back on when I first started seeing them, and I had no friends, and now I'm like sometimes the friend, like my friend from Selena from Iowa, she was like, "I got an extra ticket for you." I was like, "I'm going," like, "All right, let's go."
Word. Yeah.
Jeff is like, "Hey, you gonna come see him?" I'll go down there, or my friend Michelle, you gonna come see him? Or my friends in LA, San Diego, like they're just scattered everywhere, and they're like, "Hey man, let's go." And then to the point where I was like, all right, I gotta take a break, guys. I'm just gonna come see y'all and hang out, like
yeah, just let me come kick it for a minute.
Yeah, Ticketmaster is really fucking me up, man.
Yeah,
I can't.
Goddamn fees are just expensive. These fees are getting me.
That damn Monopoly, man, is really fucking me right now, man. I'm good. But
have you been to Minneapolis? Have you come to Minneapolis to see a show?
Oh, yeah. I went to, what was the name of that show? Mystique Live?
Oh, Myth. You came to a show at the
Myth.
Myth. You came to a show at the Myth.
Yeah.
Was that 2016 then? You're checking.
That was, I'm checking right now. Seven Flags in Iowa, the Joint, Hard Rock Vegas, Old Concrete, Pepsi, Action. Did I not write that one down?
You got another one. You got another one on the list.
Oh shit! There you go.
If it was a Myth,
I got them all.
If it was Myth, it would have been August of 16.
August, Seven Flags.
Yeah. Probably the night before Iowa. If you went with Jeff,
you know what?
I think Jeff did that. He went Myth.
I missed that one then.
Yeah. That was a good show. That was a special show. I made a whole ass podcast about that show. That was a good ass day.
Yeah, I did.
That's tight, man. Well, the next time they decide to come to Minneapolis, I got you.
I'll go out there.
Come on out. I got you. Won't even let Ticketmaster fuck with you that time.
Yeah, but I went to the Iowa show after that one. Yeah.
Then you went to yeah, man. That's tight. Well, we've been at it for a couple hours. So before I get to my closing question, what did we miss? Did we miss anything? I know you won a radio contest. I know.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
See, that's what I'm talking about. When you've been a fan for this many years, like there's so many experience. That's so fucking dope. What was the radio contest that you want? Tell me again.
So that was really funny. It was KDGE 102 The Edge in Dallas, and what they did was they had some quirky DJs, right? And they
get out of town.
All right, we're gonna do an art contest,
all right,
and it's got to be Deftones oriented, revolving around feet. And I guess one of the guys had a foot fetish or something. I don't know.
Well, one of Deftones has a foot fetish? Or
one of the guys at the radio station. Yeah. Okay. So that
makes more sense.
Yeah.
If it was like Abe, we would have a whole nother. I need to do a whole nother season. We'd have a sub season on that shit. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So they did something along the lines of foot, and nobody understood the assignment. Everyone was doing just drawings or pictures, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna take it to a whole other level. So my friend who had big feet, I was like, I need to borrow them suckers. So I painted the Def Toes, a little photo of each member on each foot, on each toe. And then I wrote Def Toes across the actual ball of the foot. And then I wrote sack toe, TOE, on the bottom. And I had a good time. I was laughing my ass off, and I was like, this has to win because
hell.
Yeah, it matches the parameters. I was like, I gotta win. So I won. And I was like, this is not gonna be all for nothing. So the lady Gina Blackmore, she's out of Austin. She was running One Love for Chi.
Word.
So I was like, all right, cool. I had painted shoes in the past, for myself. I got them autographed by the band at a meet and greet. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna raffle off some custom painted shoes.
Oh wow.
Donate to One Love for Chi. Send me the email, how much you donated it, and gives every dollar is a raffle ticket. So I had a little bag full of maybe 300 tickets. Wow. And I had Stef reach into the bag and pick it out. In a video.
Wow. Bro, I think I remember that. I think I remember that from back in the day.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember that Stef oh wow.
So yeah, he picked out a name, and I put it on some Chucks, and I put some lyrics, and I put a big white pony on the side of both Chucks. And it was cool. It was a clean looking pair of shoes. And I did that, and then I like doing that stuff. And then a friend hit me up, and she was like, oh, I want to do an event for Chi. And then she kind of burnt me. I don't know exactly if the money went to the right hand. So I was like, you know what? I'm just you can't do that.
Yeah.
You never know anybody's intention and stuff. So
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I did that straight up thing for One Love for Chi. That was when he was still in the hospital. So I was like, I'm good now. If I could do stuff directly, if I could help out the family directly, that would be cool. But I had love. I flew out to Sacto, and I have a buddy out there. His name is Robbie. He took me around. He took me to the Guild Theater. He took me to the Cattle Club, and
Oh my
I
God.
did like a
You went to
little,
Mecca. You went to
yeah.
Mecca, bro. You did the thing. That's what's up.
I went to go check it out, and
Did you get
I
to go
went to,
inside anywhere? Where did
yeah,
you get
I went inside Cattle Club. It was a sports bar at the time. So I just sat there, had a burger, had a beer,
did you
and was
really?
like looking at the stage where the stage was at, and I was just like,
Yeah.
that's where they did it, man. They were going at it.
Wow.
They had a lot of memories there, so
Yeah.
it was cool. And then I
How was your
went up
burger? Was the
there.
burger good or was the burger whack?
It was all right, man. I would have
It
much
was all
rather
right.
seen the guys
See the
perform there than have that burger.
especially
Yeah,
it's like an $8 burger or $8 Deftones. You know what I'm saying? I'll take the $8
oh,
Deftones, bro.
dude, you were telling me
10 times out of
you were
10.
telling me I was listening to the podcast. They were talking about $3 shows. I was like, God,
Bro, can you imagine that? Can you imagine $3
yeah.
where you were sitting there having a
Tool
burger?
opening for Fallacy and Far,
Fuck out of
and I was
here.
just sitting there having a burger
While you're sitting there
right there.
getting down.
Yeah.
Did you get to go in the guild?
No, I looked inside from
Yeah,
outside and I
that's
was
tight.
checking it out.
That's
Then
cool.
I went back to Sacto and I met up with Mama J, and
Wow.
she was cool. She showed us like his room and like like the records on the wall and stuff. It was kind of
Wow.
cool. She's a sweet, sweet lady. But
Wow.
it was interesting, full circle, and it's crazy because like it all started like I was I was a hip hop head, and at the end of the day, like so is Chino, like Chino is definitely a big hip hop head. Like when he would do like a side project, he'd do like a DJ thing. He do his thing on the ones and twos and like put in a lot of hip hop. When I saw him in Paris, he was jamming K Dot the entire time.
Oh,
Like
word.
he was, yeah. I came in, he was playing. I went backstage. I met with the guys in Let Live, and I was shooting the shit. Juan was like, "Hey, what are you doing, man? Come on back here. You guys know that you're gonna be back here." He was like, "Just hear the ground rules." So I went up, talked to Stef, went around, saw Chino, and started talking to him. And he was jamming out to swimming pools, K Dot, and he was just, having a good time. And he saw my shirt, Gojira, and then he switched it up. And I was like,
Word.
that reminded me of when I first got into you guys, like rap, boom, Gojira, like he saw my
Yeah.
Gojira shirt. He was like rocking Gojira. Then I had a long talk with Abe, and it was chill because like they had a fill-in for Let Live as the drummer. His name is Sandalito Chris. And I took a photo, not thinking anything, like, let me get a photo of the drummers, and they're like, yeah, cool. And Abe like talked to us for a little bit longer, and then he walked off, and then Sandalito like huddled up with me. He's like, hey, here's my email. Send that to me. I've been afraid to ask. I was like, that's my hero. And I want that photo. And I was like,
It's like, bro,
cool, man.
I need
I
that.
got
though.
you, bro. I
That's so
got you.
tight.
But yeah, we're still friends. He's a cool dude. And
Hell yeah, I
Sergio
bet you're
came up.
still friends. You plugged him up with the dream pick. That's so tight.
Yeah.
That's so I love it when people reveal themselves like that, when they be honest. Because you can only play it cool for so long before you got to show love, or you got to just sort of let that out. That's so tight. That's so tight.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I learned after the fact, Jason was able to do an interview with Chino for Kerrang. And he told the story of like he saw him at Warped Tour back when I wanted to see him. Full circle. He said he saw Chino jump off a stack, and he was like, I want to do that for the rest of my life. And so like he's in bands, and he's trying to make the dream come true. He's with Fever 333 now, and he's a beast, man. I love that guy. He won me over big time when he was with Let Live. I was like, it was chill. It was cool.
Yeah.
He offered to take me out for crepes in Paris, and I was like,
Word.
damn.
Oh, you should have done that.
I know, but I was like backstage
well,
with the band, or
that's a little bit different situation for sure. He's such a down to earth person, though. Yeah, when I interviewed him, he was just such a nice guy and like very, I don't know. There's a difference when you talk to people and they're real,
Yeah,
it's just different. It's just different.
He was a chill guy.
But that's fucking super tight. That's and yeah, that because obviously while the style is different and the art is different, like there's so much Deftones in Jason Alon Butler. Like that dude has got Deftones fan written all over him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we didn't need to see him do Head Up. You know what I mean? We didn't need to see we didn't need to see that to figure that out. But it's tight, and it's tight that he wears it. Like the people wear it is so that's smooth. That's really cool. That's cool.
He was good live. He was good live doing it. I mean, seeing Max live is good too. I saw him. He did it recently with Max Head Up, Chino and Max. I saw them at Monster Mash. It was a Halloween festival, and the thing that kind of upset me is like I saw Pussifer on the bill too. I was like, can we get Passenger live? Can we get that? You know, like
has that ever happened live? I feel like it's never happened, right?
I don't think so. I talked to Stef and I was, hey, what are the chances? You know, and he looked at me like, no, you're an idiot. You would
like
never.
The chance that the earth is round, mother.
It took me back to happen. Took me back to Dumb and Dumber. What are the chances of a boy like me and a I was like, shit. One could dream.
Yeah.
One could dream.
That certainly is a dream.
But I think Chino's a hip hop head, man. Like when I went to Woodstock, he started performing and nobody knew it. And I was like, oh shit. He was just like ad-libbing and he started singing In the Studio by Schoolboy Q.
Oh, word.
And I have a recording of it somewhere because you had to be sneaky in there because they didn't allow recording. And I was like, damn it, I know that they're gonna put this out like on a DVD for us, but I just want it for my perspective. Just at least one song, you know?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And they gave us the option to request a song when they were recording live. So Death by Plane was winged on the Applewood studio. Yeah, that was winged. They were like audience suggestions. What do y'all want? And I love the demos. I love Death by Plane, but I wanted to hear Ice Ache.
Yeah.
That's some good shit, you know?
Yeah.
But it was, man, that was the day. That was the day.
Talk about
I was there surrounded by friends, just hanging out. Like, so Ricky was there, friend Amanda was there, my friend Rosie, Jax, Luis. If I forget anybody, I'm sorry, but Sandra, friend Ori. But we and my bus Russ, who's gonna be on the show. Russ was there, and we got there not knowing what the deal was gonna be. You know, like $500, and I think they thought it was gonna be crowded for both days, but they turned it down to one day only. So I'm like, this is everything. They're gonna throw it at us, you know. They're gonna throw it at us because they got to record. So we sat there, and Chuck Doom walked up and was showing us his notes and talking about the process, and then Chino ad-libs, and then Gil Sharon on the drums started talking to us, and they gave us a tour of the studio, and then they were just started to play, you know, just like to get honed in together, you know, because they hadn't really done much together, so they were winging it, and then we had a little break, and then they're like, we saw like all the studio equipment. I took a ton of photos that day. And the one thing I'm pissed off, I didn't get in the group photo with everybody. I took a photo of the group photo being taken a photo of. And I was like, you idiot.
Should have taken a selfie of the group photo.
I could have been in on like the sleeve or whatever.
Word.
But I was like, whatever. But it was cool, man. Like they riffed, and then they had a break, and then they started recording. And just that, your skull is red, the scream, and just hearing Ever, because the last time I saw him live do that was like 2007.
Yeah.
You know? I was like, damn, I never thought I'd see these guys again. You know, like I thought it was a forever hiatus. And truthfully, I thought they were gonna come back, but I think they figured out like, oh man, that's one project at a time, Chino. You know, like
perhaps
you gotta focus on focus on Deftones, buddy. But man, it was an insane experience. I was there when Ricky was trying to look at what was in Chino's camera roll, and it was fun, man. We ate, and we snuck a friend in. So
No
one
way.
of the friends, his girl could only afford the ticket, and his girl Alexis. And I was like, dude, nobody's checking shit. Just come on down. So like, he was sitting in the car the whole time. He snuck on in, and nobody knew the difference. So I was like, dude, but it was a good time, man.
It wasn't Ticketmaster. They weren't checking stuff.
Oh yeah, it was way out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody thought somebody was gonna sneak in on that one, but
yeah, totally.
there was
I can't believe what somebody did. That's the wildest shit. And somebody actually did sneak.
Yeah, it was cool. After the recording, there was like a little meet and greet. Everyone was talking to each other.
Yeah.
And then they started a bonfire. Everyone was just chatting up everybody. And I got a really cool candid photo of like Chino like holding Crook. And he was just telling stories of like the old days when he's hanging out and stuff. And I was like, to me, I was like, it was cool because it was a moment. It was a moment that like chances are they don't get that type of thing, like they just recorded, they're just taking a stroll down memory lane. Chino lives up in Oregon, and Crook is in Saco. I'm pretty sure they hardly hang out. And they had a moment where they were just talking about the old times, and how they used to kick it and how they started off and what they recorded with when they first got together. And that was the promo poster. The promo poster was the deck that they recorded it on, their first demos. And I was like, damn, that's cool. I was like, what is this? What is this on this print? And then they revealed it to us later that night. I'm pretty sure they were just, kicking it and talking about the old days, but they're like, yeah. And I think they did a raffle and they gave it away to one of the people that was there. Yeah.
No way.
Somebody won it. Yeah.
Holy shit.
That was cool. It was a unique experience, It was very unique. And I was lucky, and I recorded some of them just riffing, Yeah. And like I got it on my computer, and there was one moment where I told my friend, I was like, hey, you gotta record. And someone asked a question and he dropped my name, and I was taken aback. I was like, holy shit, man. Full circle. This has been my band since I was a kid, This guy's a rock star. Always a rock star to me. Like what was it? On Around the Fur, ignore the fashion or go by the book, like I was just like, I was emulating him, even to where I looked like a fool with the no mustache goatee.
We all had it, bro. We all had it, bro. With a trucker hat and some knee-high ass socks.
Yeah, we were all rocking the style, man. And he was an icon. So I was like, damn, this is cool, being around my friends. I was like, I can reflect back and I can talk to my friends about them sharing their experience, and then we have the experience. I'm like, that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. Like, so chase the music, man. Chase the music that got you away, for whatever feeling you're in, that music will take you out. It was a good time, man. It was a good time. It was a good show.
That's awesome. That rules. All right, man. Well, the way I like to conclude every podcast is with a request for recommendations. And this is inspired by Chino on a podcast saying that the reason that he tweets out links to songs on YouTube is because that's what he feels like is the best thing that he could share on social media. So in that spirit, put me on to something. Put me on to. I usually ask for 3. If you only got 1, that's cool. But
I can do 3. I can do 3. All right. So I traveled to Japan a couple of times, and the biggest thing is like the culture, right? So I try to research a little bit of the culture. I started doing what is called Karuna meditation, and you focus on compassion, right? So you think about and you have to start with yourself. You have to start with yourself. You say like compassion towards yourself, or he's like mindfulness of your safety, your peace, and acceptance of yourself. So once you transition from that, you start to do compassion meditation onto other people, and you think about other people and their perspective. Because I'm not very religious, but I'm spiritual, and I think about shit. I think about like other people's the other way other people navigate the world and how they see things, and I try to be mindful of that. So, and that's one of the things that I'm into. Another one
It's
is
called
traveling, of
Karuna.
course.
I'm sorry. It was called
Karuna meditation.
Karuna.
Karuna
All right,
meditation.
Karuna.
Yeah.
Because you're not the first person who's recommended meditation on the podcast. Actually,
Yeah.
Sean recommended meditation, and I tried it, and I've struggled, admittedly.
Oh, yeah.
Being mindful and being present and being still are very challenging things for me, but I'm interested in I'm very interested in the results. So
Oh,
the rewards of meditation.
oh, for
So,
sure, for sure.
but I did compassion. Like I'm my therapist talks about gratitude all the time, but I feel like gratitude and compassion are
Yeah,
connected.
along
You
the
know what I
same
mean?
wave. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like they're in the family. So I dig that. And especially the compassion for yourself. Karuna meditation. All right. So, and then the next one, travel, you said, yeah?
Travel. Yeah. So we mentioned Thailand earlier, but like when I first went to Japan, I was trying to force it. I went to multiple temples. I went to Meiji Jingu. I went to Sensoji. I went to the Big Buddha in Kamakura. I went to Hasadera Temple, and I kept trying and trying and trying. And then I went to just some random temple in Thailand. I sat down, and my brain turned off, like absolutely just turned off. I was meditating, my brain turned off. I felt a wave of like euphoria, and I felt no stress.
Mm.
And I just started thinking about, and in that moment, and after I came back to it, I was just thinking like, wow, that was different. Like I don't quite understand what happened, but at the same time, like I was able to turn off my brain, and it's like something that
No, I
I'm
don't
always
know. I
thinking.
don't know. I need that. That's what
Oh,
I need in
dude.
my life. I need that in my life.
Yeah. So, and that's what comes with culture, like
Mm.
appreciation and mindfulness of different cultures and how they feel stuff. I currently started reading the Quran. Uh, it's a quest for knowledge. It's not really like me converting or anything. It's just I have friends that are Muslim, and I want to understand and be aware of the things that they believe and why they believe them. So that's interesting to me. I have a lot of family that's Christian. I've done the Bible a few times, not for me, but that's a different
Same.
story.
Yeah, I feel
So,
that. Yeah.
but yeah, that's it. I mean, and I'm a big boy, so cuisine opens up
Yeah.
culture as well.
Word.
And so my other thing is travel. Like I believe that, you gotta collect experiences, like stuff comes and goes, like even a homeless person has all of his stuff, and in a moment while he's asleep, they can round it up and get rid of it, like I tried to be mindful of keeping possessions. I think the only thing I keep is my memorabilia. I have a lot of Deftones memorabilia.
Do you?
And yeah, ton,
Yeah,
ton.
that's tight.
So that's like the only thing I hold on to. I got rid of like everything, and I started to do like a minimalist type deal, like just a
Yeah.
couple shirts, a couple of this, a couple of that, and try to live minimally, and get the most out of life. Just collect experiences and meet people along the way. Journeys are only good when you get to share them with people that are like-minded. And, I found that in a community of Deftones fans. So I get to experience the world with some of my friends. My friends Abe and Carla, we went to Costa Rica together. We went running around. Friend Sandra, Paris, Canada. My friend Ricky, Japan. I have other friends that we have talks of, trips in the works. I'm gonna go with Sandra again to Oaxaca, Mexico in like a month. So that's the goal in life, man. Just experiences, being at peace with myself, being at peace with others, and eating a lot of food while I'm doing it. That's it.
Thank you, Gilbert. I appreciate you, man. I don't often like to quote my father because I don't really like to give him too much credit, but he once told me wisdom is knowledge gained through experience. Now, I don't know who he stole that from, but I think they're both right. And clearly, in all the miles you've traveled, you have had a number of great experiences, and I appreciate you sharing them here. My name is Woody. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Woodbruh, although I guess maybe I should go to Threads now. I don't know. If you want to talk about my favorite band, hit me up. Thank you for listening to Deftones, and thanks for listening to Change in the House of Pods.